Welcome to Wham Wednesday, which is What Alexa Made Wednesday. I am Alexa, and welcome to my tiny New York kitchen. Today we are going to be making a dish that I really love. I think it's a very versatile dish, as in I can eat it any time of day, and that is going to be tomato basil ricotta toasts. So let's go ahead and get started. So we have obviously for tomato basil ricotta toasts, you need tomato. So we have some tomato going on. I started to have these just so we wouldn't have to sit here and have tomatoes for too long. Also for tomato basil ricotta toast, you need some basil, which I have right here. In addition, we have some ricotta. It's about half a cup going on. We have some salt using my Upwell salt grinder. We have some peppers, red pepper flakes, which I put on everything because they're delicious, either this or sriracha. Some olive oil, and then we have some toast going on, and I pre-toasted some bread going on over here. So we can go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is you just want your tomatoes to be halved, just like this, and I have a few here that we can have together. And I really wanted to do this dish because it's the end of tomato season, and I count my seasons by which produce is available to me. So right now we're in like corn tomato season. Soon we'll be in butternut squash season, or kabocha squash, which I like even more, or delicata squash, which I did my wham on last week. But I really wanted to celebrate tomatoes because at the end of the season they're like the juiciest and they're so good. And it's really, we have to celebrate them before they go away or become a little bit more mealy. Alrighty, so we have our tomatoes going. What we're going to do is we're going to take our olive oil. We're going to put about 3 tablespoons. It seems like a lot, but you know what? YOLO. Maybe that's a little less. Alright, we have our olive oil in the pan, and we're going to put this on. Work for me. Oh, there we go. We're going to put this on like a medium low. And remember, with olive oil, you never want to go too high of heat because it does have a lower smoke point than other oils because it's not as stable. And so this is going to be on like a lower level. I have it on about a 5. And we're just going to get this oil heating up. And we're going to toss these guys in. And what happens when we toss these in is they're going to start to get really juicy and delicious and start to like melt down and almost into a saucy texture, which is my favorite thing. I'm a big sauce person. Like, I want it on everything. I'm also a big condiments person. Everything deserves a sauce, and so this is like hitting all of my favorite things because it's tomatoes, which I love so much, and it's just gonna barely cook them down into like this really amazing saucy mixture. So this feels hot. I love gas stoves. They get hot so fast. When I go home to Florida, and I don't have access to a gas stove, I cook so much slower, and I complain about it the entire time, and nobody in my family likes to hear that. But it's true because up here you put it on and it's like fire and it just heats really quickly. Okay, so everybody's going into the pan. We're joining the party. And tomatoes have a really great, in addition to like the sourness and the sweetness that tomatoes have, they also have the 5th flavor component, which is umami. And umami is all the things that smell savory and delicious. So the best way I can describe umami is like when the smell of when you're cooking meat. So like ground meat being cooked releases all that umami smell, and tomatoes actually have some of that too. They have that delicious savoriness to it. And so when you hit it with salt, and that seems like a lot of salt, but they can take it. When you hit it with salt, it brings out that really, really amazing umami flavor as it starts to melt down and get soft. And you could also do this if you wanted with whole tomatoes. You don't necessarily have to have them. But if you start with whole tomatoes, it's just going to take longer. And what's basically going to happen is the pressure inside the walls of the tomato, when you use whole tomatoes, is going to build up, and then it's finally going to burst. And then you'll get that saucy, most deliciousness to it. And it's just going to take some more time. So you can do it like that, but it will take you probably like 20 minutes or so to get there. But we're going to bring this process way down to like 5 minutes. And the way we do that is just by having them ahead of time. So the sauce is already there, or the juices of the tomato are already there, ready to kind of leak out and become a sauce. And we're going to stir that around a little bit. It's already starting to smell so good. Okay, so I'm also going to hit it with some red pepper flakes. The amount you use is up to you. There's no really set way to do this. If it were just me, I would dump probably this whole bottle on, but David is also going to be eating this after Wham Wednesday, and he does not love spicy, so we're going to keep it mild, and I'll add on some spice later because I am such a great fiance. Okay, on you go. And you can hear them start to bubble, and it's really starting to like get sauced up. It smells so good, guys. And you can use bigger tomatoes here if you wanted. I use baby tomatoes because I love baby tomatoes, and also because I grow baby tomatoes in my garden. But if you wanted, you could use like a Roma tomato, like those little guys that are usually used for like guacamole. And you can chop those up and toss them right in as well. You can see like a little sauce starting to build up here. I don't know if you guys can see that. We'll visit again. But it's definitely getting saucier as the oils and the tomatoes break down. And like I said, I love this dish because it really is so versatile. Like we're eating it for dinner. This for breakfast would be so good. Just throw an egg on top. For lunch, it would be amazing. Maybe with like a little fresh side salad. As a snack, just eat it like this. We're eating it for dinner because it's Thursday or Wednesday. Wow, and it's Wednesday, and this is a super fast, perfect Wednesday meal. Maybe if you had something else in the fridge, you could throw it along with it. But we're just eating it just with this because I spent all day at work in a chip factory, and all I want when I get home is something easy and fast and fresh and delicious. And so this is getting real saucy. We're like almost done here, guys. This is going real fast. We're gonna bring the heat down a little bit so it doesn't cook too much. And because we're getting to the end of the cooking process, we're gonna throw in some of our basil. And what we've done to our basil is we've done these really beautiful chiffonade to it. So that's in these like almost like confetti pieces. And a chiffonade is a really easy thing to do, and it makes anything look really fancy. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take your basil leaves and you're gonna lay them all on top of each other like this. And then starting on the long end, you're going to roll them up into a little cigar type shape. And then you're going to take your knife and you're just going to slice thin slices down the cigar. And that helps you get those really beautiful like confetti like pieces. It looks really fancy. It takes 40 seconds. You'll impress anybody you give it to. Okay, we have a beautiful sauce going on here. So you can see all those juices came out and made it into like a little sauce action. Pick that up too soon. Okay, and we're going to take our beautiful chiffonade basil, and we're going to just confetti into our tomatoes. And you're going to want to do this at the end of your process because you don't want the basil to cook too much. You just want it to impart some of that flavor while it's still hot. And we're going to let this sit for a little bit, and we're going to start assembling our toasts. So we've done our tomatoes, we have our sauce going, it's looking good, and now we're going to hit our ricotta. And we're going to build this, so we're going to take a piece of bread. I think a sourdough would work really well here, but I feel like the whole world's on a sourdough kick. So maybe that's why I'm going straight to sourdough. But today we have just like a whole grain that we like to buy from Trader Joe's. And we're going to take those and put those there. And we're going to top it with a dollop of ricotta. And ricotta is... guys, I did not like ricotta when I was younger, and now that I'm an adult, I'm like, what a fool. It's so good. I think the texture was a little bit off-putting to me when I was younger, but now I think it's just amazing, and it's almost fluffy, you know? And we're just going to top those. It's a little bit of a generous dollop, but we're eating these for dinner, so, you know, we got to have a hearty portion. And the interesting thing about ricotta is that ricotta is actually a byproduct of the mozzarella making process. So when you make mozzarella, you make your cheese, and then you're left with this big, all this water that's left in there. And you'll notice this if you buy certain mozzarellas at the store, it's usually in a brine. And how ricotta is made is that brine is then fermented again to make almost a second cheese, and those solids fall out, and they coagulate together, and you have this really beautiful ricotta left over. Okay, so this is nice and saucy. We're turning that off the heat. We have our ricotta on the toast for our ricotta toast. Two very important things happening over here. And we are now going to take our tomato mixture and we're just going to spoon it over top. And we're going to let it droop and drip. And it's looking real good, guys. I wish you could smell this. And this is a very beautiful dish. It looks really fancy, but it took, you know, what are we at? 7-Eleven. It took 10 minutes and half of that was me blabbing to you. Very fancy, very beautiful. And because I can't get enough basil, and because my basil is still giving me beautiful leaves, now that we're in fall, but I'm going to take it as long as I can get. We have these beautiful basil leaves, and we're just going to put them right on top as a little garnish to make everything nice and pretty. And then a little bit more salt, because everything needs more salt, especially tomatoes. I say this all the time, but you need to salt throughout your entire cooking process, because it adds layers of flavor. So we just layered it up, and I think it's time to try, guys. Which one do I want? Okay, we'll go with this one. Guys, it's fantastic. So good. So beautiful. You have your droopy ricotta. You have your drippy tomatoes. You have that bite of basil. It's so good. Stevie Kogan asked if I do delivery. I don't, unfortunately. But I do take guests. Come hang out and we'll make food together. Thank you guys for watching Wham Wednesday. I had so much fun with this. I love tomato season. I'm so sad it's going. Don't be surprised if you see a tomato recipe next week, because I'm really clutching onto it as long as I can. Let me know what you guys want to make, because I'm totally open to things. If you want to see more breakfast dishes that you can make in the morning, or dinners, or lunches, or snacks, let me know. Let's make this a process. And I can't wait to join you guys next week, next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Thanks for watching.